two, three, four.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Oh Brother. Today's movie is Army of Darkness, released in 1992. This movie stars Bruce Campbell, Emmett Davids, Marcus Gilbert, Ian Abercrombie, Richard Grove, Timothy Patrick Quill, and Michael Early Reed. Written by Sam and Ivan Raimi and directed by Sam Raimi. Bryce, can you give a quick synopsis for this one?
Absolutely, Drake. When Ash Williams is accidentally transported to 1300 AD, he must retrieve the Necronomicon and battle an army of the dead in order to return home. As always, this podcast will include spoilers, but before we get into all that, how would you get somebody new into horror movies?
I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Okay.
I think I've made it very, very clear to you throughout all the years I've known you that I do not like horror movies. In the slightest.
Sure.
Not my bag, baby. But you have been slowly kind of getting me to see more of them. I watched Sinners. That was really good. I like that quite a bit. This one, is it considered horror? I don't know.
I think this one's considered horror. I mean, there's definitely like horror elements to it, but there's definitely no moments where I'm actively scared or tense.
Sure.
Which I know that's where some people define the name horror into. And I also think that because this is the third movie of a trilogy of two horror movies previous, that's probably where it gets most of its horror genre. I don't know, whatever. That's where it comes from, I assume. But for me, I also tend to... obviously, I like them more than you do. But I have the similar relationship with them as I do not like getting scared. And when a new horror movie is coming out and it's like, oh, this is the scariest thing in years, it doesn't make me want to go to the theater to see it. I'll wait to see it at home where I can have all the lights on and then watch it from there. Mm-hmm. I've realized over the years that my horror movies tended to incorporate other genres within them and are more there to have fun rather than make you not be able to sleep at night. That's where I tend to land with it. And that's how kind of what I've realized too is just in general, my favorite movies are genre blenders rather than just a straightforward of any given genre. And horror definitely falls into that. I've definitely noticed that I really love when a horror movie just goes fucking balls to the walls with its effects and it's just trying to gross you out. And it's just comical how nasty it is at points. Those tend to be the ones that I enjoy the most. If not that, then like good character dramas that just happen to be scary also. Like Jaws is probably what I would say more often than not is my favorite horror movie.
I do like Jaws.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I fall into it. Because I value rewatching the rewatchability of a movie more than any other criteria. And if I'm terrified to watch the movie, I'm probably not going to watch it again. Personally, if I were to try to get somebody to watch them, that were more traditional horror movies, I'd probably start with franchises that are older, that have a good enough first movie, and then very quickly get stupid.
See, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That's a big, I like that because it's perfectly, like you said, the first one, pretty good. The rest get really fucking stupid real quick.
Yeah. Because it after a while, the blood's pink, I'm not buying this anymore. For me, Friday the 13th is what really got me to dive head deep into horror movies. And then after that, I did Saw, which Saw is a little more intense, but it does get stupid very fast. Those are the ones that worked for me. So either blend a genre like the movie we're talking about today or an older one I don't think I like the newer horror movies, like the trend of the 2010s and onwards, where obviously there's exceptions, but when the music gets quiet and then completely goes away for a 3 minute stretch and then something jumps out and the music gets really loud and screams at you, I hate that shit. I can't do it. It drives me insane. To the point where when I'm watching something like The Conjuring, I fast forward through all the tension building stuff. And then when the actual monster shows up, I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on here. And I'm like, whoa, that was pretty scary. Whoa, okay. So that's, I don't know if that's frowned upon, but that's how I have to do it.
I'm sure there's somebody shaking their fist.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's either that or I literally can't watch them because it just pisses me off too much. I'm like, just scare me already. God damn it.
Going back to Jaws, like the scene that always scared me the most was that dead body.
Oh yeah,
like under the water. Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And like he's got like the underwater scream, like ooh.
Yeah, like doesn't make any goddamn sense whatsoever, but makes me jump every time.
Yep, and even though when I know it's coming, I'm just like, oh boy.
Yeah, I watched that movie on a plane one time, and I was in the middle seat, and I fucking jumped with the stranger sitting next to me.
I always watched that at my dad's place, and that's like just a core memory of sitting in his living room watching that.
Mm-hmm. And he knew it was coming too, so like, just got to watch. That's a movie I'm excited to show my kids one day. But getting into Evil Dead, I've been on record saying that this is my favorite horror franchise. There's a new one coming out at the end of this month. Or I guess it's this weekend. I don't know. We should have looked that up before we started. But I'm very excited for it.
I'll do you one better. I didn't even know there was something coming out.
Yeah, Evil Dead Burn is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. It looks gnarly. And going back to, like, I don't like the tension building stuff. There is the part of me that's like, I don't know if I can handle this movie in the theater. But, like, fuck, I want to watch a new Evil Dead movie. So
is Ash part of the new ones, or? So
Ash is in this original trilogy that Sam Raimi actually directed. Afterwards, it's remakes or just one-offs, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which, I guess, like, the context for you and anybody else who just watched Army of Darkness and nothing else. I don't know why you'd be listening to this, but the Evil Dead is a very influential movie for me as a younger person who one day wants to make movies, because they were teenagers when they got this cabin and went out in the middle of the woods. They funded it by knocking door to door and just asking people for money. And they just went out there and were running around and had a bunch of gnarly gore and makeup. And it became one of the biggest success stories of all time. So that in and of itself is super inspiring. And also the movie's really good. So that helps. It became so popular that I think 6 years later, they got Evil Dead 2 made, which is essentially a remake of Evil Dead 1, but they just had a bigger budget, so they got to make the movie that was in their heads, but they just couldn't pull off. So a lot of people would consider that one the best of the movies. I'm a little lower on it. I don't think it fully, like, the comedy side to it doesn't fully come together. But the movie ends with this big cliffhanger, which leads into Army of Darkness, where Ash gets sent back to 1300 AD. And I really admire that they committed to this, because the first movie had less than $500,000 budget. And then the second one had like a $3.5 million budget. And then a studio got involved with Universal, and they nearly tripled their budget with the two movies combined to $11 million. And even after the studio got involved, there'll be some problems with that later. We'll get into that. But the studio wasn't like, hey man, these are cabin in the woods movies. Like, why, what are we doing here? You know, like, why are we making this a medieval Evil Dead movie? And I love that they got to commit to that. I don't know. These movies are a lot of fun. And like I said earlier, like, that's what I admire the most in the horror movies, that I can enjoy myself while also seeing some really fucked up shit at the same time. That's why I love them. And it's really funny how every one of them is somewhat of a different genre, where the first one's like a horror movie, the second one is a comedy, and then this one's like an action adventure movie, but they still feel like a really great trilogy all together. So that's the backstory for me, and as well as the franchise. What did you think coming into all this? Because obviously you were probably pretty naive.
Yeah, so, months ago, Bryce and I were talking about, what movie should we put on the docket? And then he brought up Army of Darkness. I'm like, oh, is that like the Ash versus Evil Dead thing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, sure. Well, come like a week ago when I'm supposed to start watching it, I go, hey, is this like the first one? He goes, no, it's the third. I'm like, should I watch the first two? He goes, you don't really need to. And I go, oh, okay. And that's apparent because the opening has one of the most egregious, I tell you, egregious exposition dumps I have ever heard in a movie in a long time. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, it was like it was tailor written for fellas like me that just couldn't be fucked to watch the first two.
Yeah.
And you know what? For this one moment where I genuinely did need exposition for what was going on, it was good. But looking at it from an objective point of view, if I've seen the first two, I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. I do think it's a little long.
Mm-hmm.
It's also not the worst. Like some of these Friday the 13th movies, it feels like the first 10 minutes is just a recap of the last movie.
Yeah. But no, I thought this movie was absolutely sick.
Yeah.
Dude, like, it was so cool. Like, oh, the shot where he, like, the wise man throws the chainsaw hand into the pit and he jumps up and it puts it on. It's like, oh, and he's got like the pose where he's got it behind him ready to just slice that thing. Oh, that was so fucking sick, dude. Holy shit. And like you got the like the spikes coming in on each side, like, oh, and like Bruce Campbell just being so wild. Like his eyes and his smile just pops so much in this movie, especially because of all the fucking grime and blood and dirt he's got on him 24/7. It's just he looks like a maniac the entire time, and I love it so much. Like I've been very clear, like I love a good practical effect, and this movie is chock full of them. So awesome! It's really campy, but I really enjoy it. Fantastic thing for me to watch. So Bryce, thank you for having me watch it, and yeah, it was a good time.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. There was part of me, like, when we talked about that, this is the third one, I was like, oh shit, is this gonna backfire on me? But I'm glad it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It is such an interesting point in where movies were at, because this movie was being filmed in 91, and it didn't come out until 92, right? Which usually most people pinpoint T2 Judgment Day as when CG started to take over practical effects. So this is like kind of one of the last movies that really had no excuses. Like it literally had to, or it wouldn't be made. And I love that they just committed so hard, and the skeleton army, how many of them there are, it's just crazy. Like these puppets are so impressive. And like you're watching the behind the scenes footage and it's like, oh, they're like not even skeletons just on a stick that they're just bouncing around. They're like full robots essentially that they're doing. It's so insane. There's a lot to admire here from that standpoint. And yeah, I'm right there with you. I really eat it up every time. I mean, do you want to talk about Ash a little bit?
I would love to talk about Ash. He's like one of two, like Bryce and I, before we started, we're like, how do we put our notes in certain categories? And then by the time we were done, we were like, so it's Ash and practical effects. Which I feel like that's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we start with like the character of Ash. His name is Ash Williams, right?
Yeah.
I love... most of the time I can take or leave like camp and like cheesy stuff. When he got his metal medieval like glove hand, which also I wasn't a fan of that because I would have preferred him to just keep the chainsaw because I think that thing was really cool. Really inconvenient. I understand that to only have one hand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just too cool to like not have it. But anyways, when he gets it, he just says groovy.
Yeah.
And truthfully, that right there, I feel like tells you everything you need to know about Ash as a person, because if you look at it through the lens of the time of when this movie was coming out, like you said in 92 it came out.
Yeah.
Even by like 90s standards, the term groovy was at least 30 years outdated. Now it's like 50 years.
Yeah.
which is crazy. So no, and like little subtle things, like because obviously this is the first I'm seeing of Ash, and so I don't have like two other movies to like be like, oh yeah, obviously this is something he would do. So like that
Mhm.
little thing right there was really nice to like be okay, so this is what this guy's all about. And you know how he's like, you have it in here, he did not whatsoever try to adapt to the lingo of 1300 AD. Matter of fact, going so far as to call everybody there primates. For
Yeah.
whatever reason. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, buddy. It's just, it was really funny. I thought his hair looked great the entire time.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
was a big fan of that,
it's great hair.
especially since I don't have any. So
No, that was, I didn't say anything.
whatever, man.
No, but like him not even trying to adapt to the lingo was one of my favorite parts to pick up on this time through. Just the line, "You ain't leading nothing but Jack and shit, and Jack left town." It's like, you, sir, are not leading anything in this arena. And he's like, no, he's just fucking around.
He's like, he can't be bothered to care about these people.
No, it's not even this people. It's like this situation. All he wants is to get home, which fair enough. Like, it's a good enough motivation, but
Mhm.
it's like he's doing it in like one of the most complicated ways possible, where he's like just rushing through everything, like not trying to think things through. And at a runtime of 80 minutes, it works to the film's favor in a lot of ways.
It does. No, like the fact that the MacGuffin here of like how he just forgot the words.
Like, write them down. That's
I was like, why did they spend all this time to make sure that he remembers it? And then it paid off. I'm like, holy shit, this idiot. And then it pays off at the end where he's like, so you said the words after you drank the potion and it all worked out, right? He's like, I mean, I said most of the syllable. I might have not done every single syllable, but I pretty much said them. He just...
like, do these people even know the word syllable? Like,
here's the thing. I really love good character development. I also really like it when the character just does not change.
yeah. You
know?
And it, like, going back to that runtime where this is like one of the only movies that has that excuse where it's like, no, of course they're not going to change. It's barely been an hour.
Right.
Where like in movie time, it's been what, 1 or 2 days. So it's like, to have that,
maybe
you can't like I don't know. There's certain times where a character arc does feel super forced just for the narrative of the story. When you actually think about how long they were there for, it's like, I don't think they would have went from A to B in 2 days.
No. I do want to kind of follow up with it because when I was watching the movie, I texted you. I was like, is Ash genuinely insane? And I see here you say you have a little context, so I want to hear the thoughts behind that.
Did you write that down? I think you wrote that down. I didn't write that.
Oh, it says I have little context. Like, I don't know if this dude is just like, he's just a weird dude or he's like clinically insane. Because there's moments where he'll just start laughing at really dark situations and just like, he'll just start singing or whatnot. And he's just got like those wild eyes of his. That I'm just like,
coming down.
That's it. The context of that scene is he is smashing little, like, miniature.
Can I ask you, when that scene started, like, I wish I was watching this with you to like get your reaction when little versions of him jump out of broken glass and start beating him up.
Honestly, I thought he was just having like a psychological meltdown.
Yeah,
and like it was like whatever creature was chasing him, like just making him have this like weird thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it kept doing it, I was like, huh. And then like the body horror a little bit that happened, I was like, whoa. I thought of you instantly, like when he ripped off his shirt and like the little eye was coming off of his shoulder. I'm like, I'm like, ooh, ew. It was like blinking. It looked really good too. I was like, ew. And he just like birthed himself. It was crazy.
Yeah. I think the eye is definitely the grossest effect in here. They're all kind of corny.
For sure.
And then they whip that one out as like, that just like makes you feel uncomfortable and squirm a little bit. And I don't know if I would have preferred if they had more of those. I don't really know where they could have gone, given that most of the effects are with skeletons, you know?
The stretched face ones that he had when he like got pulled into the fake Necronomicon, those are pretty good too. They did remind me of the Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I thought of the exact same thing. And then once I put that together, I was like, I remembered when we watched Beetlejuice together and how much we were cracking up at the sound effects, and then the sound, and then I started focusing in on the sound effects in this movie and like how ridiculous some of them are. And like I say that first Evil Dead movie is a horror movie, and it is, but they're not afraid to have fun within that one. One of my favorite examples, and the reason I'm bringing this up, is like there's a scene where he's got one of the characters who has been possessed, and he's trying to strap them down, and he puts like a chain onto a hook, and the sound of the latch like on the chain hooking in is the exact same clip just used over and over again, to where it just doesn't make any sense after a certain while. And the Three Stooges were huge inspirations for these guys, and I mean, go figure, right? But
right.
So, like, to see how they just kept leaning more and more into that inspiration is just really funny to see the progression of that. Where it started with, like, just little sounds in the first one to people jumping out of broken glass and then running at a ramming speed with a fork. It's just goofy shit like that. What were we talking about? The face stretching. It's such a good effect, and like
just like the
yeah, and I love when he goes. Lindsay was in the other room watching Love Island. And every once in a while, I would pause it, rewind it like 10 seconds, and be like, "Hey, I want you to guess what's going on right now." Just based off the sound, and the was one of them. And she's like, I have absolutely no fucking idea. I had a great time doing that. Would recommend doing that.
My sister came into the room like 20 minutes to the end of the movie, and she was just absolutely perplexed as to what was going on. She just goes, "What the fuck is this?"
Do you remember the moment?
Unfortunately, it was the scene where he has the car come out all decked up out of nowhere. She goes, "What is going on here?" And he says, "Here's something from the 21st century." And I was like, this is a bad spot to walk in on.
I feel like there's worse.
Yeah, but that wasn't great.
The funniest part to me with that one is when the blades are coming around in slow motion and it hits the skeleton, and like they didn't even attempt to make it look like the skeleton could move. It just looks like a mannequin getting hit by a blade. I don't know. It's so fun. It's like such a charming movie with how low budget it feels at times, even though this is like the highest budget of the franchise thus far, which make sense. His commitment to these movies is just something to like just really ravel in, because how many actors are this committed to something this goofy? And like he's the first person on the call sheet, and there's never a moment in this thing where he's phoning it in. He's always 110% committed to this goofy ass movie. And Bruce Campbell, it's tough to understand why he isn't a bigger star, to be honest with you. As someone who is a gigantic fan of these movies, and like even as a Raimi fan, whenever he shows up and just in a small cameo, it's always like one of the best scenes of the movie, you know, and one of the more memorable ones. And everybody loves when he shows up. So it's just super weird that it didn't get big for him. This is the one and only time where he was the lead of a studio movie. And it's so baffling to me, because he was fucking jacked in this movie.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that they did this is because they were self-aware enough to know that this is like the prime of his physique. Like, he's not going to get better, and he's definitely only going to get worse after this. And so they just committed to that and made this swords and sandals movie.
No, the amount of reviews I saw that explicitly mentioned Bruce Campbell's chiseled jaw. There was at least 3 separate ones that I found while just like briefly researching. So like that just goes to show you how like impactful like just his physicality was to like the viewership.
Yeah. And not only is he playing Ash, but he's also playing evil Ash, the villain of the movie.
And how willing he was to have his face so covered up like that.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. And I love that evil Ash and Ash are 2 completely different characters. Like, the first time I watched it, I don't think I processed that it was Bruce Campbell under all that makeup. Because he's doing a different voice under it, too. Bruce Campbell, like, full-on called this the hardest shoot in the history of motion pictures. And any other actor could, quote, kiss my ass loud and hard. He then went on to say that the only actor he had any sympathy for was Ron Perlman, which, I mean, great choice.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them in a buddy cop movie.
That is, I like that idea quite a bit. I do want to do a little quote from our friend Roger Ebert. Don't worry, he. Okay, first, so depending on how these episodes pan out, I assume Brockovich will already be out at this point.
This is after.
Okay, so Aaron Brockovich, according to Ebert, was 2 out of 4 stars, and you know where this is going. Roger Ebert rated this one 3 out of 4 stars.
I think he's on to something. let him cook.
So, his review in February 19th, 1993. The special effects in Army of Darkness are ingenious and a lot of fun. The makeup is state-of-the-art, so are the severed limbs, geysers of blood, etc. The movie isn't as funny or entertaining as Evil Dead 2. I don't know, I haven't seen the other 2. However, maybe because the comic approach seems recycled. Then again, the movie seems aimed at an audience of 14-year-olds who have been 8 when Evil Dead 2 came out, so maybe this will all seem breathtakingly original. He then goes on to say, Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness is a goofy, hyperventilated send-up of horror films and medieval warfare, so action-packed it sometimes seems less like a movie than like a cardiovascular workout for its stars. To reiterate, Bruce Campbell saying this is the hardest shoot in cinematic history. It makes the dubious claim of being a sequel to Raimi's Evil Dead 2 on the basis of a tenuous link. A cursed book of the dead found by the hero in that movie has him sent hurtling back through time to the Middle Ages where this movie takes place. He then ends the quote with, uh-huh.
That's journalism for you, baby.
Right. And like, my question is, how can you get one review so right and then get one so wrong?
We all have our hot takes. I mean...
Yeah, I guess.
Nobody's perfect. I think I've actively pissed off the horror community in this very episode, so...
Well, what are they going to do, scare me?
Yeah. A lot.
Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no!
I do think that the age demographic for this movie is something to talk about because they were shooting for a PG-13 originally, and the MPA just totally kind of fucked them over, essentially, because those first 2 movies released unrated, which at the time, it might still be the case, but at the time in the United States was legal to do, where you could just literally put anything into theaters that way. That's how Evil Dead has this reputation of being on like the banned movies list in like the UK because it wasn't MPA rated, something like that. I don't know like the specifics offhand. So it just felt like in their minds when they sent the movie in to get reviewed, the MPA gave it an NC-17, which would have totally fucked them over financially because then radio wouldn't promote the movie, televisions wouldn't promote the movie, anything like that. So Raimi and Campbell asked what they had to do to get it cut down to an R, and they made up some bullshit, basically calling it the accumulated effect, whatever that means. So it sounds like that they just didn't change anything and just resubmitted the movie, and then they gave him an R. Which
like, I don't even know if the movie really needs an R rating.
No, definitely not. It's definitely the tamest of the trilogy, as far as the gore is concerned. And I don't even think the language is that bad, to be honest. Like, there's Jack and shit, but does he even say fuck in this movie? I don't know. You know, to kind of briefly talk about the gore, I was honestly expecting a bit more. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's kind of the reputation of this movie, of this franchise, I should say. But, like, I often hear that, like, people who get into horror at, like, a comically young age, like, in, like, the single digits, this was like a big entry point. Like, this is like their gateway horror. And I do think that R rating does hurt the legacy of this film because, like, if a parent picks it up and like, oh, I'm R rating, you're not watching this. But if you actually like sit down with your kid and watch it, I think they could have a good time with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some scary parts, but like in the future, I would probably sit my kids down and watch it with them.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that.
Because it's pretty fun.
And then Lindsay's going to be in the other room here.
See, the problem is your kids are going to start doing that too. They're
like... man, I can't wait. The remake of the original Evil Dead, like, I think at the time broke the record for the amount of fake blood used in a motion picture at like 50,000 gallons of fake blood. Just, you fact checking me?
So a movie that came out recently called Iron Lung.
Oh yeah,
that broke the record just now. 80,000 gallons of fake blood were used. The previous record holder was the 2013 Evil Dead reboot, which used 50 to 70,000 gallons.
And if you ever end up watching that movie, the way they use it in the finale, they earned it. It's gnarly. It's really gnarly. I should mention that this past year, every time a family member had a birthday, I would send them a video of me dancing to the happy birthday song, and then in the background of the video I'd put on an Evil Dead movie with like the most violent scene of the movie playing. And
oh, that's funny.
And then the finale of that, the remake, was what I chose. And no one ever addressed the TV in the background, so it was funny for only me. But anyways,
a bit's a bit.
I committed. What else is going on in here?
I did want to talk to you really quick about something that kind of was throwing me a little bit. So, you know, after like watching Bond a couple times, I'm 3 Sean Connery movies deep in at this point. I can't tell if the one-liners with women in this movie are like a legit thing or like a spoof on Bond. And frankly, I prefer the spoof. So I don't know if like if you caught on to that at all. Like, he doesn't have many, but it's like a few times where he's like, give me some sugar, or I'm the king, baby, something like that. And it's just like,
oh, come on, baby, that was just pillow talk, you know? I don't know if it's directly to Bond. I never considered that until he brought this up. If it is Bond, like, fair. I could just see it being like, oh, this guy's insane. Let's just make him a womanizer too.
Yeah, he is fucking nuts. Yeah. And I think the craziest part about this whole thing is that he could have been a king, had riches and everything, and he chose to go back to work at a supermarket.
That's a great observation. I've never... Yeah, you could easily rule this kingdom.
You have a boomstick.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he really just pulled that thing out of his ass, because for every other shot, he did not have that shotgun. And that shotgun would have done him good in the pit.
Yeah.
and he did not use it.
No, he did not.
But you know what? Most of the time I would be upset about it. I'm not upset this time.
Well, I mean, the chainsaw, I think I prefer the chainsaw.
Well, yeah, no, the payoff is fantastic.
Oh, the flip?
Which is why I'm not upset. Yeah.
So good.
Favorite shot in the whole movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd have to think what my favorite one would be. Oh, shit. I'll get back to you on that if I remember.
No, that one right there, easily. Especially because, like, in my mind, I had the Chainsaw Man theme song playing in my head as it was happening. So it was just like, it just went double for me. I was like, all right.
Yeah. I love the effect of the geyser when they get pushed into it, or that guy gets pushed into it the first time. It's such a solid use of the blood, where up until that point, like, yeah, it's a little kooky, but that's the first moment where it's like, oh shit, like they're going for it here.
And it's like, what did that thing do to him?
That's like another great
question. Because, like,
question.
we just see him, like, we just see her, like, just punch the shit out of Ash. Like, what the fuck happened to that guy?
I didn't realize until doing the research that the credited name for that thing in there is the Pit Bitch.
Oh, that's funny.
Whatever. Yeah, no more thoughts on that, but
I think he pretty much golden there.
Do you have a favorite, like, of the practical effects that, like, stood out to you?
Honestly, I really think the eye on the shoulder was a big one for me. It was so quick, but it was so effective considering I'm still talking about it, and it made me just be like, ooh, gross. No, I think it's the eye one. I did like the blood geyser. I thought that was really cool. I felt like the eye on the shoulder was more akin to horror than anything else in it.
For sure. I think the shot that's coming out to me isn't even an Ash shot, but it's when the skeleton army's rising from the dead, and there's two skeletons taking off the lid of a casket, and one sits up and just coughs, and it, like, puffs, like a puff of smoke comes out.
Yeah.
I think that really captures the essence of the movie, despite Ash not even being in the shot. Honestly, a solid shot is when he starts splitting in two, and there's, like, the two heads, and they're walking away from the windmill with the gigantic Bruce Almighty moon in the background. I think that might be my favorite shot of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think that one's just, like, the prettiest to me, while also, like, that would be a good, like, wall decal for, like, a poster for Halloween time. That's the vibe that's giving me.
Sure.
I think my favorite what would be my favorite effect? I really like the tombstones firing out of the ground like rockets. I thought that was really solid, and how high they get. Like, it would be one thing if just a hand popped out of the ground, but the fact that it's like a rocket ship blasting off, it's a nice touch to separate it from a traditional zombie movie.
Right. No, man, like, sometimes I'm kind of hit or miss as far as, like, an undead, like, endless horde of, like, randos. I liked it with this one because each one of them looks so unique.
Yeah, I love that they're not just, like, a skeleton you'd find in a classroom. Like, they have, like, an angry brow to them, which I think that's such a nice touch that if I were making one of these, I don't know if I would think of that on my own. I want to talk a little bit more about the production. Part of the reason that he called this the hardest shoot in the history of motion pictures, which is such a bold statement to make. It sounds like they shot at least 23 days in a row at times, if not more. And Campbell would sometimes not even sleep between the days, because if he wasn't shooting, he'd either be applying or taking off makeup or rigs, which is what they call, like, the prosthetic for, like, the long arms or the face. So there was a time where he got back to his hotel from shooting one day, and then by the time he laid his head down on the pillow, somebody was knocking on the door to pick him up. It's just... Fuck, man, like, surely you would have known that he just got there, right? Is it not the same driver?
Right.
And then, like, the way that Raimi was shooting this movie, you would think that he was shooting digitally by the way that he just wouldn't stop rolling the camera, because once you cut, then all the crew members start coming into the frame, and then, like, people go off and meander or whatever. And doing it like this, it just made sure everybody was locked in the entire time to get through the shoot faster, which, yeah, I mean, it works, but it's also, you're using a lot of film And like Bruce has to commit when he's not even in usable footage, so it's just
Which, I mean, he was every time anyways.
yeah, it's easy to forget sometimes that like yeah, the movie's 80 minutes, but Bruce is probably acting his ass off for days straight.
Hmm. I have a quick quote that kind of compares with that. Janet Maslin, February 19th, 1993 said, Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness comes closer to comic book sensibility than many a real comic book does, thanks to Mr. Raimi's broad, jokey visual style and his taste for pre-teenage humor. If your favorite reading matter comes with pictures, you may well appreciate his directorial verve. Which, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that I learned too is that Raimi storyboarded every single frame of this movie, and it was either 98 or 99% of the shots you see he had drawn before like they started shooting. And it really puts in that idea that every shot has to have something interesting going on in it. And I think that's what makes the movie feel so fun, is that even when you're having a scene where maybe not a whole lot's happening on paper, there's like a skeleton in the background blowing up. you know? I really admire the approach of actively thinking about what's going to happen every single second of your movie, which I don't know if everyone does.
Right. Definitely not.
Do you want to finish your quote?
Yeah. She goes on to say that, taking on its own terms, Army of Darkness displays some ambition and wit, though not nearly enough to lend it broad appeal. It is best watched as a string of wild visual effects that, as in recent films like Death Becomes Her, take on a life of their own. Among these are tricks showing the film's hero Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, showing an extra head and splintering into chattering Lilliputian versions of himself. Moments like these are understandably upstage the rest of the action. Using big words on me out of nowhere. How dare she?
Have you seen Death Becomes Her? No? I mean, that's a very fair comparison, I'd say, as far as the effects are concerned. That movie has like the kind of effects where it's like, okay, wait, how did they do this? Where this one, it's like, you get how, but it's still cool that they did it.
That's a very good way to describe the effects in this movie. Oh yeah, I see how they do that. Still cool.
Other production things. The actor Marcus Gilbert, who played the king, was so hot in the aluminum armor that he would be wearing. After just one day of shooting, he lost 11 pounds in water weight. So they were
Jesus.
shooting in the California desert. So it would either be above the hundreds or freezing at night. They would say, like, when they were having a night shoot, they would get excited when the sun would start to rise, be like, oh, it's going to start warming up here. And then they would remember, oh, shit, it's going to start warming up. Like, they just couldn't win, And then other thing that I thought was cute was that the costume designer, Ida Giron, and Bruce Campbell, they got married right before shooting started because they didn't think that it would last otherwise. They're like, if we were just a couple, we would definitely break up because they just knew how intense this shoot was going to be. Which I love that they just committed to each other. They're still married to this day, which is very sweet.
That makes me happy to see.
Yeah. And then one of the chest plates that she made for Bruce for the armor at the end of the movie, apparently he was taking it off and it like cut his chin open. So he got rushed to the hospital and the doctor didn't know which of the prosthetic scars on his face or like which ones were which. And then after that, it was just a continuity nightmare because they had to add the scar that was real into like other sequences in the movie now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just thought that was funny.
It's kind of like how they had to shoot that whole scene for Mark Hamill in episode 5.
Yeah.
Just to explain the scars on his face.
And no other reason.
No. There were some really cool camera shots in this movie. I think that deserve to kind of be recognized for a little bit. So, like, the one that I really, really enjoyed was evil Ash is going down to like stab cool Ash, and like the camera follows like the point of the sword as it's coming down, and then it like changes the trajectory of it, and it changes the camera shot of it. I just thought that was so cool and unique. I love that Raimi does this a lot, where there's just like something interesting going on in each frame.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have it in here somewhere where it's like he's got a camera on this, this, and this just because why not? Like there's one where it's like there's an arrow following a guy and he's about to be shot by said arrow. And like it looks a little silly, but I think it's really cool that you're doing something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, right. I'm like the one that really caught me aback was when they're like a literal ball of fire and the camera somehow mounted onto it and
Mhm.
following it into the skeleton army. It's like how that if there's any shot that I genuinely don't know how they did, it's probably that one. Like, what do you mean you did?
Yeah.
Would the camera not
You
catch?
can't strap a camera to a fireball.
There are other shots like that. Like, I just remember there was one shot of like an axe coming down, and like instead of like doing the one where the camera's mounted to it, it's like a side profile that's like tilting 90 degrees, like as the axe is coming down to it. I thought that one was pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, I think the funniest part about trying to do a podcast about this is that literally while I was writing my notes, I actively wrote, I really don't have any more elaborate thoughts than this. It's just a lot of fun.
It is. And you know what's funny? Like this, you could watch this episode and the movie would be nearly done.
This episode is gonna be longer than the movie.
Did you have something?
I'm just gonna keep jumping all over the place. So,
I did want to kind of talk to you briefly of this concept I was thinking about while I was watching it. This movie's really cheesy.
yeah,
I think we both can agree on that. I didn't find it like cringy or annoying though. So I want to kind of pick your brain. Like, what's like the healthy amount of like cheesy in a movie without it being like really fucking annoying?
it's a great way to phrase that question. I think it's the self-awareness of it. Because if you're lingering on something for too long, it just comes across that you think this is really funny. It's like prolonging a bit for too long, where it's like this is a punchline and you are trying to make this last 2 minutes. You know, let's keep going here. The only example I could think of this is in the fucking Masters of the Universe movie that just came. There's a bit in that movie where Jared Leto Skeletor, who's really good in the movie by the way, he's trying to like what's the thing when the villain like they grab their head and then they like get inside their thoughts and like they show something from their life but they make it an evil version of their life, you know. I don't know what the name of that trope would be called, but they do that in that movie. And it's like, okay, whatever. So, like, you see He-Man at his office job, and then Jared Leto comes in as Skeletor into the office building, and he's like, I got the promotion you wanted. And it's like, okay, that's pretty funny. But then they do it 2 more times. where Jared Leto Joker shows up at the gym, and he's stronger than He-Man at the gym. And it's like, okay, like fuck, man. Like it was fine. Now we're just like, all right, I'm over it. Like let's wrap this up here. That's where I start to cringe. Where it's like you had a good idea, but then you thought it was too good. Do you have any better example than the Masters of the Universe movie?
Better like something really cringy. Off the top of my head, no.
Or like I guess what I'm asking is like, do you have an answer to your own question?
I think so. I think a lot of the times it just has to be the characters can take the situation seriously, but the script shouldn't take itself seriously.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so like the trick to like comedy, when your characters are in a objectively funny situation, but if it's life and death for them, it's life and death for them. it could be fucking hilarious to us.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like so important, and this is like a perfect example is Ash getting essentially diddled by all the skeleton hands. You know, like that's really funny.
Yeah.
But for him, it's probably like horrible and terrifying because it is a bunch of undead skeletons coming up and smacking the shit out of you.
Right.
And the script writes it because it is funny, but it doesn't take away from Ash's agency of what's going on with him.
Sure.
Like you shouldn't write a bit just to have a bit in there.
Yeah.
It should help the story.
True. Obviously, we love Bruce in this movie, but what would be like the bad example of that specific scene? Because I love that shot of all the skeletons just all at once, just punching him at the same time. I think that's really funny. But like, what would Bruce have to do for that to be a bad performance? Like, make it the cringe.
I think what it would be is if you would have like other people with him and being like, "Hey, are you done?"
Oh, like well, that just happened.
Yeah. Yeah, just a character there to not take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Acting as like, oh, this is what the audience would think, huh? And making it seem smarter than it is.
Sure, but I could also see a world where something like that could be funny if someone's just like watching this happen and they're like, dude, get up.
You could, but then it goes to the matter of executing it properly.
Yeah. Right. I'm just curious on what would ruin this for me.
I think if it went on any longer than it did.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. You can't go wrong with that runtime, man.
It's tight. It's tight.
I do want to talk a little bit more about Raimi, because we've been talking about a lot about Bruce. I know you've seen the Spider-Man movies. Are you overly familiar with his catalog other than that?
Get back to me. I'm gonna look up more of his stuff just to see.
Sure. He's just such a wholesome figure to me, and it's always so... like the juxtaposition of him making some of the most iconic horror movies while also being like one of the sweetest people in the business is such a funny juxtaposition, which I already said. So he would be on set and he would be like in the crane with the camera, like trying to shoot something, and then he'd have like the megaphone and just be yelling out to like give direction to like the army of deadites. And he would be like doing like this crazy voice. He'd be like, "All right, you deadites, those people in the castle, you despise them. You want their blood." And if you want like a more accurate version of what that voice actually is, he voices like the big skeleton at the end of the movie. So like imagine that voice like giving direction for like the entire thing. And it just sounds like he just loved pulling bits, but like not to the point where it'd like be disrupting production. It would just like try to see where people were at while also messing with them at the same time. And it sounded like he was still doing this on as recently as Send Help, which came out in January.
No, that's what it was. I saw Send Help.
Okay.
I was trying to think of it. I'm like, I swear to God, there was something else besides this Spider-Man and that one Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which, funnily enough, the Bruce Campbell cameo in that movie is probably one of my favorite parts of that whole movie.
Rightfully so, man. These are some like an exchange of quotes between him and the cinematographer Bill Pope, who's one of like the best cinematographers out there. This is like his first movie. It's not like first big movie, it seems like, which that's crazy that this is the starting point to that career. So Sam goes up to him and he goes, "So, buddy, I'm going to tell you exactly where to put the camera, how high to put the cameras, what lens to put on the cameras. I'm going to tell you where to put the light. I'm going to tell you where I want the camera to move, how fast and what speed. I'm going to tell you everything to do. How do you feel about that?" And then Bill Pope replied, "Well, you're the director, so that's good. I'll start from there." Huh. That wasn't the answer I was expecting. "You're not going to fight me on this?" "No, I'm not going to fight you. It's my job to start wherever you stop." "Oh, okay, good. I have no idea about lighting or lenses or any of that stuff. I was just testing you."
What a silly little guy.
Yeah. And he just seems like one of those directors that is excited to make movies, which you would think that would be every big director, but I don't know, like the enthusiasm that this guy just oozes off when you hear stories about him is just so infectious. So they had like 175 extras for the Deadite army. So anytime Sam was asked about them, they would be referencing the storyboards that he drew. And in them, obviously, he's not going to draw 175 skeletons in every single frame. So someone would go up to him and be like, okay, so I see you got like 4 skeletons here. How many do you want in this frame? And he's like, well, how many do we have today? And they'd be like, we have about 40 today. Like, okay, well, we'd probably need 40 of them then. It's just stuff in the frame with as much energy as possible. And I just love that he didn't be like, oh, well, I suppose a few of them could take a break today. It's like, no, you guys are going to fucking do this and it's going to be fun. And it's just like, I'd love to visit one of his sets. I mean, I could say that about most of my favorite directors, but him specifically, he's such a charming personality to watch. And I think one of my favorite things that continue on into the Spider-Man movies is that how he just kind of abuses his actors physically, but like not in a way where like you hear horror stories about it, like in his Kubrick way. But like, you know that shot in Spider-Man 2 where Tobey Maguire gets hit in the head with a book bag on the college campus? That's Raimi doing that. Like, in this movie, and probably any of the other Evil Dead movies, anytime Bruce Campbell's getting like actively hit super hard, it was more likely than not Raimi off camera doing it. Like when the book starts flying and attacking him, they have a book on a stick, and it would just be Raimi going like, or like the skeleton punching him. That's Raimi. Like he wants to be the one to hit Bruce. There's the one where like the skeleton like grabs his head in that same scene and is like starts pulling it one way, and Bruce would be like, "Hey man, that's too far. Let's not do that." And Sammy would be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay, guys." And then he would just do it again, but in a different direction, so that he wouldn't get yelled at. So
Good for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love this guy. The only other things I got in here just talk about the release of the movie. So at the time they finished editing the movie, and the final runtime ended up being around 95 minutes. So they sent it to Universal to get their approval, and then it just sat on a shelf for a year. At the time, there was a huge dispute between Universal Studios and Dino De Laurentiis, DEG Studios, which is like, I don't know, they're involved with these movies too. Fuck, I don't remember why. But they were fighting over the rights to the Hannibal Lecter character, as DEG had already made Manhunter, and Universal was in the process of making Silence of the Lambs. So Dino is trying to sue Universal to try to get Silence of the Lambs from being made. And so both this movie and another movie called Cuffs with Christian Slater, they got caught between the two studios, and eventually Universal won the lawsuit, and then they started to tamper with the film as they just didn't get what Raimi was going for, which is why the movie ended up being cut down to 80 minutes from its original cut. And the director's cut is still out there. It's like the set that I own. And the only there's like some minor differences, but like the final battle, they like shot so many shots of a skeleton getting blown up. They would have like 5 of them in a row. And it'd be like, well, what do we need all 5 of them for? Like, surely you could get the same effect from 2. So it's a lot of stuff like that where it's just like condensing the battle. Because even in the theatrical cut that we watched for this episode, I would argue like over half of the movie is the finale. It's a really weird structure, how fast they get to it. It almost seems like the movie has only 2 acts rather than the traditional 3-act structure, where Ash shows up and then he gets the book, and then the bad guys want the book back. And that's it. Like, there's some other stuff going on in there, but I mean,
for the most part,
come on.
It's about the book.
Yeah, so they imagine the battle is even longer. Other things that they kind of tampered with, the king that goes his own way at the beginning of the movie, and then just randomly shows up at the end to help. There was a scene between him and Ash saying like, oh, hey, if you ever need a favor, I'll be here to call. They cut that scene for whatever reason, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why he shows up at the end of the movie, but Doesn't really affect it too much,
I
in
thought
my
it was
opinion.
fine.
Yeah, and then the other one was the ending, which is arguably the biggest change. So the original ending, Ash was trying to get back to the present day by taking like these sleeping potions, and he just took too many, and he discovered that an apocalypse had happened by the time he woke up, and it was like the world was in complete ruins, and test audiences found it to be too much of a bummer. So they ended up filming a new ending at the S Mart, which is the one that we got. And I think that one is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I love that he jumps onto the cart and then grabs the gun and just starts rapid firing it as the cart's moving towards.
Yeah, a shotgun.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
It's like, how the hell? I like how he still has the metal hand.
Yeah. I love how long he stays in the air for. Like, sure, that's not how that works. But yeah, and then the other big thing that they changed, which I think is the biggest bummer of them all, is that the studio wanted this movie to be disassociated from the Evil Dead franchise as much as it could, which I don't understand that decision at all, because it's like, people like the first two movies. They're going to show up to the third one. So the original title of this movie was The Medieval Dead, which is such a cool-ass title. Cool. Like, fuck, man, that would have been awesome. But they changed it to this, and there were people who didn't realize that this was connected at all. And I don't blame them, because it's not, like, the only hints of Evil Dead on the poster is from the director of Evil Dead.
Right.
So, like, it just feels like a spin-off, like just a totally different direction. The movie did not do well financially. It broke even, and it just kind of stopped after that. And then it got a lot of its legs and following from the DVD sales and all the different releases with the director's cut, like I talked about, but international cuts, TV cuts. There's so many cuts of this movie. And I think the reason why they all work is because it goes back to those storyboards where, like, there isn't a shot that they filmed that was meant to be filler. Like, every shot has something good going on in it. And I think that's why it works. Because, like, I think I prefer the theatrical cut, just given that it is the shorter one and it still leaves the same amount of punch. But, I mean, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you got any other closing thoughts about it?
Thanks for putting me onto this. Had a lot of fun. Probably going to try and track down a DVD copy so I can have it with me.
Wait, I forgot about one thing. I really love when Evil Ash's reaction to his army getting blown up is just, ah! Ah!
Very much like a video game boss. It's like, oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
You know what I think? I bet that's Raimi not cutting between takes. Like, there was supposed to be one thing, but Raimi just decided to not condense it. I bet that's exactly what
I hope so. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you've enjoyed this one, be sure to like, comment, and follow along so you know when we release another episode. And hey, if you have any feedback for the show, send it over to our Instagram, o.brother.official. As always, I'm Drake, and this is Bryce, and this has been Oh Brother. See you in the next one.